Townhouse project abandoned. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee. Let's have a look at this article by Sarah Sharples from news.com.au, looking at a developer shelving a townhouse project in Brisbane. So again, another development project being shelved for now, and I wonder if they'll either sell the land or land bank it. And now they're saying the homeowners are screwed. But here's the thing, guys. What would you rather? Would you rather have a half-finished development and a builder goes bust, and then you're really screwed? Or would you rather have the project stopped before it even started? Because that's the question. We're seeing both things occurring here. If, hopefully you get your deposit back. Sure, you don't get that dream you had for the price you did, but that was unrealistic now because the market's changed. You would have been lucky if you maybe bought it a few years earlier. Then you can, say all the bullshit like you're a property genius, publish the online courses, and, just ride the gravy train of spreading, property always goes up BS. But no, you can't. Sorry. Anyway, I'm going off topic again. Let's have a look at what Sarah's written here. A homeowner who bought into an off-the-plan development, in Brisbane, which has now been shelved, has described the development company's decision as an absolute joke, claiming that it would leave his family financially screwed. We'll have to see how far along they got on the project. And, buying off the plan, that's always a risk. It's like paying Kickstarter for a computer game. There's one game series I used to play as a kid, Space Quest. And there's a space venture project to make an adventure game. And they've been working on this thing for a decade, and it's still not coming out. And I didn't even pay any money for the project to Kickstarter because I thought, I'll just buy it when it comes out on Steam. I can't be bothered. And now I'm just watching all the comments as the people tear into it after 10 years. So it could be worse. It could be a lot worse. So Chris signed up to buy an $800,000 townhouse last year in the $180 million development called Grayville on the northern suburb of Wooloowin, and was scheduled to move into the new home with his partner and daughter in 2023. Okay, why do they always say partner? Does that mean they're not married, or is it meant to be a wife? It's always partner. Is that to kind of equate not being married as being equal to being married? Come on. I know in reality it doesn't mean anything, but maybe I'm just old-fashioned. I'm turning into a boomer, aren't I? I'm definitely turning into a boomer. The project was set to deliver around 250 homes, a residential zone or recreation zone and pool, as well as a community park, and had originally been marketed as an urban village just 5 kilometres north of Brisbane CBD. Wooloowin isn't too bad. I had a share house there back in my uni days. Now the family has been left angry and upset after the Perth-based developer Cedar Woods announced it was delaying the project, blaming rising costs, labour shortages, significant rainfall events in Queensland, and extended construction timelines. Well, shit happens, yeah. Nothing they have said here is unreasonable at all. Nothing at all. All of these things are accurate. There you go. Okay, so it's multi-res. Yeah. But the problem with buying in one of these things off the plan, you don't know what you're going to get. We've seen repeatedly in previous off the plan examples where, the space they got wasn't the right size, the apartments weren't the same configuration. Someone didn't even get an enclosed little forecourt. Yeah. Buyers have been given the option to have their deposits refunded and will be offered the first choice when the project is remarketed, according to the developer, which it said hoped would be in the second half of next year. Well, there you go. But Chris claims they are stuck in no man's land because the developer doesn't have a clause in which they can cancel a contract, a claim Cedar Woods would not comment on. In a letter to buyers, Cedar Woods proposed that both the developers and buyers agree to a mutual termination of the contract as the project would be indefinitely delayed. Well, honestly, what the developer is saying here seems quite reasonable, considering what has happened in the market. So you can be a bastard and really push them, God, I want my property. You're going to get screwed. you're going to get screwed. But so far, the family says it has refused to accept the return of their deposit, nor had any response to their inquiries. Well, the family needs to get a lawyer. They don't need to go to news.com. They don't need to talk to reporters. They need to get a lawyer. There's never been any consultation whatsoever. There was a post on Facebook in April about how they would start construction, but then the post was deleted, and we got phone calls saying everything was cancelled. Financially, we've been really screwed by Cedar Woods' decision because now the property prices are still up. We personally don't think we're going to fall as much as speculators say. Well, okay, yeah. I mean, Brisbane property, let's have a look here. Asking prices in Brisbane, and there you go. I mean, yeah. Brisbane property has gone insane, everyone. What's that? You know, a unit, 2-bed, or all units are at 461,000, guys. So it's up in, 12 months, 16.9%. So they've gone up a fair bit. So add this to the pressure due to the cost of living going up and interest rates going up greatly, limiting our choices. Yeah, but Cedar Woods won't be able to build the project for what you signed up for. What would you rather? They give you a deposit back now, or they say you got to pay more, or they collapse. What do you want? Because that's the risk as well. These developers could go under. We've seen it many times. Are people not paying attention? Or is it just normies don't have an appreciation of the reality of construction? They think everything's like the block and it's all just bullshit, you know? We've been looking at similar places and we're not going to get anything for under 1 million for the area. Well, yeah, Wollongong is not cheap. You are 5 minutes from the city. That's what you're paying for. And even you can even get views. You can get views of the city. I remember we had one party, a housewarming party, and we invited all these friends, and I cooked a whole lot of food. And I remember sitting there eating and having a nice beer, and you get these glimpses of the city. The glimpses. We had quite a nice house that we were all renting. I'm surprised they lent it to a bunch of students. Those are the days. So we tried to put an offer on a development of 4 townhouses, and the real estate agent basically laughed at us, as they are after the mid $1 million mark for a place with the same square meterage and floor plan, similar to what we had bought. Well, no. Okay, you hadn't bought it. You'd put a deposit down off the plan. Okay? If you should have waited till they finished building it, then you could buy it, but prices would have gone up. Cedar Woods did not respond to news.com.au's questions on whether the townhouses and apartments would be sold at a higher price once the project was relaunched. Of course they will, because it's going to cost more to build these bloody things. I mean, come on. Oh. What do people think? Developers are doing it all out of the kindness of their heart. A post in its official Grayville Facebook page back in April that said works underway has now been deleted, but homeowners were left blindsided when the project was shelved just a month later. Construction is off to a great start in 2022. The now deleted post read, despite the weather in southeast Queensland, we're happy to share the civil works on the site are partially completed and construction will begin shortly. It's an exciting time for Grayville, and we're excited to show you what's to come. Well, yeah, they just started work on the site. That's just the beginning, guys. There's a lot of work happening after. Chris, who works as a project manager, added that communication had been poor, and the couple were most peeved. There was no real consultation by the company about the decision to show up the project. Well, if he's a PM, he should understand that the project may not be viable anymore. The decision has majorly impacted people's lives, and they just don't seem to care. Cedar Woods Managing Director Nathan Blackburn said the firm's decision was extremely difficult. Oh, bloody oath it would be. This will be a huge reputation damage. But was the right decision in an environment where builders were facing additional risks. Well, where builders are collapsing left, right, and centre. That's what we're seeing. We know purchasers are disappointed, and we have apologised to them. We greatly appreciate the understanding of our purchasers who are in the main are aware of the current conditions, he said. Extended construction timeframes and increased costs had meant that the particular stages could not be proceeded as completion wasn't possible by specified completion timeframes, he added. Cedar Woods has continued to engage with the affected purchasers and provide opportunities for further discussions while prioritizing the return of their deposits, he said. If they pay back their deposits, this is a much better outcome. The best outcome would be that build the property and everyone get their homes. Second best outcome is they shelve the project and wait, and then pay everyone back their deposits until the market calms down. But here's the kicker. I don't know how much it's going to calm down, and I don't know how much property is going to decrease in value, particularly here in Brisbane. Okay, Sydney and Melbourne's a little bit different, but Brisbane, we're still, attractive to interstate buyers, but you've got a shortage of supply. Supply is going to drop as we're seeing more and more people fall over. The company hopes to re-engage with them when conditions in the sector are expected to improve over financial year 2023. But for Chris and his partner, who are in their mid-30s, their huge excitement about owning the townhouse has turned into a nightmare. We're tossing up if we have to move further out of town, away from family and friends, work and childcare. Yeah, you probably will. And make life more inconvenient. But that's one of the only options we have, he said. I don't feel any sympathy for that at all. Oh no, I have to move a bit further out from Brisbane. Whoop-de-doo. Oh no. I mean, come on. It's not the end of the world, Some of us that live out in the suburbs, we're not that bad, I know we're like an Untermensch, Unterklass from the inner suburbs. We're not as good people. And some of us, we don't even vote green blindly and want to, destroy the bloody economy. No, but you may have to. I mean, come on. He's mid-30s. He's still young. It could be much worse if the project fell over halfway through. They've paid a whole lot of progress payments, and they're going to be years in a bloody mess. Or what about Mascot Towers? What if you wound up in that situation? This is the thing. You need to look at what else could happen. Cedar Woods made a decision to protect shareholders and their bottom line, as they are a business, and I get that, but the impact that it will have on our family and other families out there is not insignificant. Meanwhile, work is still continuing on the project site, which has left buyers furious, with many lashing out at the developer on Facebook. Cedar Woods is continuing to finalise all the civil construction, remediation work of the historic laundry, and delivery of the community park in preparedness for the project to come back to market. He said of the continued works. That seems sensible. I mean, you don't want the civil guys who've started on the work to lose out, eh? So, Australian construction crisis, yes. It's not the first project to suffer this month in Australia's embattled construction sector. Perth developer Sirona Urban killed off a $165 million luxury tower. Yeah, we've seen that. Melbourne developer abandoned a $500,000 Gold Coast project. We've looked at that one. But also there's other projects that are coming online. And we've got another Gold Coast project that's jumping on. Hang on, I'm trying to find it here. Some good news. So this site here, Meriton, bought this site to build a huge project on the Gold Coast. So we've got to remember, guys, when we're looking at all the negative news, there are some other developers that are positioning themselves to move forward. So, let's have a talk about this one. It could be much worse. This seems like a sensible response given how the market's going at the moment. It could be, it could all fall apart. Oh no, they're going to have to move out a bit further. It's not the end of the world. Why don't you go, Acacia Ridge? It's a multicultural suburb there, but you got some affordable houses, you got some lovely parks, and you're not that far from the city, only 20 minutes away. You can get really good value for money there. Or even go a bit further out. Maybe look at the south side, go down towards Logan there. You can get great value for money. Or even go a bit further north. There's other options. I know these people are probably frustrated and annoyed, but in this regards, I think it's sensible. At least they're getting the deposits back. What do you think, everyone? Or are the developers always automatically the bad guys, even though they create most of the houses and roads that a lot of people live in? Anyway, thanks for watching. like, share, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one in the comments down below. If you want to support us, there are a few ways you can. You can buy YouTube or Patreon. You can use our referral links or buy our pocket squares. Call us if you need an architect. Otherwise, take care, guys. Have a great day. And I'll see you in the next episode of Heise Says. Oh, I remember those student parties back in the day. Probably wouldn't even let you do it anymore nowadays. Probably, kids will probably have parties online. Shit, that's probably right.